Hey, thank you so much for checking out Radio Chatter. It's Meltdown back at it, and today talking to an old friend, a guy who I haven't seen probably in a good decade, for sure. Apparently, he was at a festival that I was at a couple years ago, and we missed each other for some reason. We'll get into that here during the conversation. But Jasin Todd, of course, I met him during the very, very, very early days of Shinedown. He was on their first two records. He's done a ton of stuff since then, and we'll get into all of that today.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
This is Radio Chatter with WRIF's own Meltdown.
Podcast number 2 of 2017. Thanks so much for checking it out. It's a special one, man. My old friend Jasin Todd, the original guitar player for Shinedown, is on the podcast, and a real fast backstory as to how this whole interview got set up in the first place. A couple days ago, maybe a week ago or something, I saw a picture on Jason's Instagram of him and Brad Stewart, the original bass player for Shinedown. And I'll tell you what, man, they look so happy just to be hanging out together. And I think Jasin, might have posted something about, one of the best dudes around or something like that. You can really feel like the love in this picture. And so anyways, I texted Brad Stewart, who was on the podcast last year, and it was great, by the way. If you're a Shinedown, Saliva, Fuel fan of any of these guys' projects, definitely go back and check out Brad Stewart on the podcast last year. But I texted Brad, and I'm like, hey, man, I'd love to get Jasin on the podcast. And he said, yeah, Jasin would be great, man. He loves to talk about his projects and the whole thing. So anyways, through that and through DM messages on Twitter and Instagram and finally text messages, we've made this all happen. So I'm super happy that you guys are going to get a chance to hear Jasin Todd tell us about what he's got going on, a little bit about the past, a little bit about Shinedown, and what he thinks about maybe, what happened in the future, possible things that he might want to do in the future. Anyways, we started out the conversation by talking about what he's got going on right now.
Well, right now I'm doing a project with Trista Mabry. She's a singer-songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee, originally from Kentucky. And she's my girlfriend, so she's super awesome too. And we've basically been going out for probably the last 6 months, just hitting the road, going out on the road, that is. And just going around playing our stuff, it's a acoustic duo thing, except I don't sing because nobody would like to hear that. and it's going well though. We're having a lot of fun.
So now, who books all these shows? Is this kind of one of those things where you do it yourself, or do you have a management working for you? What do you got?
Well, we don't have a manager, but we have a booking agent, James Cripps, down in Florida, and he's pretty much setting it all up, and he's doing a pretty good job for us. So we're having a lot of fun. People are, it takes a while because it's a brand new thing, So, and we're just playing her stuff. We're playing a couple of cover songs from the '70s that we like, some of our favorite bands. But as far as any of my stuff with previous bands, we're not playing any of that stuff. So we're just trying to solely focus on her material, and because I played and helped write some of the material, so we're basically just focusing on that right now.
Yeah, what are some of the '70s songs you guys cover? I'm curious to know what kind of stuff influenced you.
Well, we do a lot of Fleetwood Mac. We do some Neil Young, and we try to do some working on some Grateful Dead stuff like that. It's kind of, the older I get, the more I'm kind of getting into some jammy type stuff, switching from the blues scale to the major scale. So.
All right, if you say so. I don't know what that means, but I'm not a guitar player, but I can imagine that. So, that's kind of the stuff that you grew up on, or what?
Yeah, like the Allman Brothers and stuff like that, the stuff that my mom had always had in the house, so kind of just, I don't know, I guess being a 70s kid, it just, to me, that music just sounds right.
Yeah.
Floyd, the Led Zeppelin, all the classic, what I consider classic, Black Sabbath, for some reason that sound just resonates with me, so that's kind of the stuff we try to do up there.
Yeah, I guess I've always thought of you as kind of like a classic rock kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? You have that vibe, that look, that play, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not really something thought out. And now, especially as I get older, it's just what sounds right to me. It's like we go back and we listen to the recordings, and it's nothing against any of the new music today, but for some reason, the way they recorded it, and, I don't know, it resonates with me. I don't connect with a lot of the new music. I try to. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's some newer bands that I really like, but it's just, overall, I don't know, the music of the 70s somehow resonates with me.
I saw a documentary recently on that Muscle Shoals. Have you been there before?
I have not been there, but I saw that as well, and you know, that's just an amazing documentary. Love all those artists, you know, all the bands in the '60s and the '70s. That's just for me, that's where it's at. And the musicianship was so much higher, I think, caliber, and there was no computers. Everything's fixed today, and if your drummer's playing, they're going to do this thing called quantize on the drums, where they make it perfect. And you know, it's like something about that word "perfect" just scares me, because music is, you know, when it loses that human element, I think it changes everything. You know,
yeah.
If music's done on a computer, you know, it's I don't know. It takes all the human element out of it. So.
Well, sometimes you look at some of the imperfections on some of the classic songs, or maybe even like the girl's voice cracking on the Rolling Stones, you know, "Sympathy for the Devil," stuff like that. It's like that stuff is so good. Or "Give Me Shelter," one of those songs. You know, it's like so good.
Yeah, that's what makes it, you know. It's like, and if you were to solo a lot of those instruments, you know, and people that we grew up saying are these great musicians, which they really are, but it's like you said, some of the flubs on the recording is what makes it, you know, because when you put all those instruments together, it creates this sound, you know, and I think that's some of what we're missing today, unfortunately, you know. But, you know, I got to tip my hat off to everybody that's playing, you know, young or old. So if they're out there doing it, more power to them.
Now, you said that you do like a few newer bands. Who do you like?
Oh, God, I knew you were going to say that.
Sorry, man. I want to put you on the spot.
I guess when I say newer, you know, I'm talking like, you know, maybe 62, so maybe Ray Charles. It probably stops there.
All right, fair enough.
No,
hey.
you know, I mean, I like Perfect Circle, you know.
Yeah.
If I was to have a dream gig, that would be, you know, playing a gig in that band. You know, to me, that's the sound for you know, they're not a new band, but I don't know. I honestly can't tell you anything new, because I just can't think of anything.
Now, a couple years ago, I was at that Louder Than Life festival, and I was texting back and forth with you about this, and I was in the media tent or whatever they do, and somebody said, yeah, Jason Todd was just here. And I'm like, he was? And I actually started looking for you, and you had already left by then. But have you done a lot of those festival gigs, and what were you doing there at the time? Was that with Blackstone Cherry or something?
Yeah, I was there to see Blackstone Cherry and actually run into my former band. So I went and got to hang out with Barry for a little bit and Zach, and but mainly just to go there and just, you know, because those festivals, man, it's all the bands that I spent, you know, almost 10 years with.
Right.
They're playing, and they're all still on the, you know, Three Doors Down. Everybody. So for me, it was just going there to hang out with everybody. I wasn't playing or anything. So we just went and had a day off and went to say hello to everybody.
Now, last year you helped to co-write one of Blackstone Cherry's songs, Rambler, and I was listening to that song just a few minutes ago here to kind of prepare, and I'd heard it last year as well. And is that song kind of like, I don't know, is it self-reflecting in some ways?
Yeah, it's, you know, songwriting, it's, you try to take something from all your experiences, you know, and I guess that it kind of speaks for itself, I guess I have to say, you know. It's kind of a personal thing, you know, so I think, you know, you don't want to say what it means to you when you write it, because you hope everybody gets something else out of it. Right. You know? Right. So.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that about different songs. It's like, well, whatever people think, that's what it means.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, the reason this conversation's even taking place today is because I saw a picture with you and Brad Stewart the other day. You saw him down in Jacksonville. And when was the last time you saw Brad?
Actually, my kids and Brad's kids are actually best friends. So,
is that right? Okay.
Yeah, in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's a beautiful thing. They get to grow up together, you know. So I actually see Brad quite often, you know, and I was down there playing a gig. I play acoustic guitar for this a former Major League Baseball pitcher, Brett Myers. He won a World Series with with Philadelphia.
Is that right?
So it's a trip, you know, and so we had a gig in Jacksonville, and I ran into Brad and said hello, you know, but yeah, me and Brad, we've stayed in contact. You know, we probably see each other every few months.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up was because, I mean, not that you got to take a picture every time you see him, but it seemed like from that picture, like you hadn't seen him in quite a while or something like that. That's why I ask. Yeah,
well, you know, when we do see each other, I mean, I guess I don't see him as much as I'd like to, but because I live in Nashville, you know, and he still lives in Jacksonville, and with his touring schedule and my touring schedule, it's we don't get to see a lot of each other. We really don't think about taking pictures or anything.
Right,
so
right.
Actually, somebody on the bus took that picture, and when I looked at it, I was like, damn, I don't have any pictures of Brad, you know, and it just started making me think of all the things we used to go through, you know, because when you're out there, as you know, when you're out there on the road, you know, we spent probably 6-7 years together, and it's the stuff you go through is I don't know, the stories we could tell. It's pretty unbelievable when you sit back and think about it. You don't think of it when you're going through it, but we've had like 6 or 7 years to reflect on that, and I don't know, that picture just kind of, it said something to me.
Yeah, it seemed like it, because you were pretty happy to post it up there, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's cool. And then I made a comment underneath that we should get together and do the interview and whatnot. And you had said that you had heard the interview I did with Brad Stewart. Did it bring back some memories for you?
Oh, it totally did. And, unlike Brad, I'm not as well spoken. And plus, we're just waking up, so mine probably won't go over as well as his. But no kidding. I listened to the whole thing, and even though it was a long podcast, it went by quick. And just hearing the way Brad and the way you and him vamped off each other, it was really cool. And I love hearing Brad's perspective on everything. He's got a great, he's a good wordsmith, and he speaks very well, and he told the truth, and it was good to hear.
Yeah, that he does. And you know what? I got to be honest, though. He texted me and he said, you know what, Jasin will be a great interview. We got to get him on. So, he said he spoke highly of you as far as your speaking.
Well, maybe later in the day. I'm kind of more of an afternoon person. But
well, after the first cup of coffee.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just happy to talk to you, man. I mean, we had so much fun back in those days, and we miss you. We need you to play some of our music.
Yeah,
the riff.
Yeah, there you go, the riff. Right, exactly. I was thinking about this coming in today, because the first people I met in the band were you, Brad, and Brent here at the radio station. You guys did that acoustic. I think you guys did Fly From the Inside. If I'm positive you guys did Fly From the Inside that day, and that was the first time I'd met you guys. And that song was pretty much only being pushed for, a couple of weeks at the time. Like, you guys were fresh, brand new band. What are some of your favorite memories from getting the band started?
Well, we started out, it was just, I can remember me, Brad, and Barry. We went around and we called it the Shit Brown Buick Tour, because they just put us in this four-door Buick, and we just went around all over the radio stations, and the album was done, and we would get in there just like we did with you and start, play a couple songs and see if anybody got off on it. And it seemed to work. But just when you're three of you and you're in a car, you're not on a bus or in a van or in an RV. It's like you really get to know each other, each other's personality when you're driving around the country in a car, every day. So, there's just so many memories. I've tried to move on from all that stuff. So, maybe one day I'll sit down and think about it all.
Yeah. One of the things, I don't want to harp too much on it, but that story with Eddie Van Halen is classic. And Brad told that story, and I thought that was hysterical. I'd heard that story a bunch of times before. About the
everything he said was absolutely true.
The smoking gun.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, man, to see him piss right there on the deli tray. And he threw a cigarette inside it and wrapped it up and said, "Give it to your tour manager." And we all just sat there. We're just kids, and we're just, in awe of Eddie Van Halen that he's even in the dressing room. It's such a humbling experience, and to see him do that, it was just, we didn't know what to say, man.
Yeah, growing up, being a guitar player and stuff, every guitar player, no matter what kind of music you play, probably has to idolize Eddie Van Halen. Am I correct?
Oh, totally. And just to get the call to be in there, and just, we would see him and Woofy. Woofy was such a young kid at the time, and we would turn around, and they would both be there on stage watching us during the show. You just shit yourself. You're just scared to take any licks or anything, because Ed's standing right there, But it was, man, they were really great to us, and that was a pretty magical time in the history of the band.
Yeah, what's some of the things you might have learned from Eddie, even though he didn't just I guess from witnessing him, from watching him? Is there anything you took from that?
Just to bring it every night. Honestly, Ed had some issues during that tour, and I don't mind saying that because, Sam made that documentary or did a special, and it's all been documented. But, he was going through a lot of problems that time with some substance abuse. So he was pretty out there, and, a lot of people online were saying that he didn't play his best, and, how fans can be on the internet. They can be unrelenting.
Yeah, right.
But the way I saw it, is if I got to see like someone like Jerry Garcia or Jimi Hendrix. You know, it's like he would just go in a different direction every night. You know, so I learned to take chances, if anything. You know, like he would just give you a little bit of the melody, and then he would literally take off into outer space. And some nights he would hit it, and some nights he wouldn't. But I saw him hit it one night. And I watched every single night, and he played great every night, I thought. But one night I saw him hit it, and it was just the most amazing thing. You've never seen someone play more fluidly or just, I mean, I don't know. There's no words to explain it, you know. So basically I learned to just take chances, you know, because a lot of the times you're not going to get it. But, you know, in music, hopefully if you get it that one night, you know, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, Brad was funny when he was talking about how, what they call you guys, the acrobats or something like that on that tour? Because for people that didn't hear the interview, you guys had like a small part of the stage and you had to make the most of it, so you guys started jumping around on stage.
Oh yeah, they just gave us the very tip of the Van. If you know the Van Halen logo, they just gave us the very tip of it. But you know, we made the most of it. You know, we're in arenas every night, so there was no complaining. Plus, we're out there with Van Halen, you know. So, and that's kind of funny them calling us the acrobats, because if you look at them in the early '70s and '80s, you know, they're jumping around like crazy and, you know, flying through the air on wires and shit. So it was a big honor.
Yeah. Hey, what did you ever try to get into some other bands after Shinedown? What happened after Shinedown with you?
Man, to be honest with you, I wasn't in a good spot, and a lot of things had happened. And looking back on it now, I should have just jumped right back out there, but I didn't, you know, because I was told some things that never came to light, you know, and I believed all those things. And it doesn't matter now, but it basically, no, I didn't jump right back into anything, because I was very loyal and thinking that some other things were going to transpire that didn't happen. So it basically took me, I guess, until 2010, and I agreed to go out with Fuel, because Brad was in the band, you know, and I thought that would be good to do. And I did that for about 6 months, and I didn't really think I was ready to still be out there. So I took some more time off, and finally just getting back into it, man, to be honest with you, for the last 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years, you know. I needed some time to get my head right.
I was going to say, kind of doing it like kind of low key with the acoustic thing. Do you ever see yourself in the future possibly hopping out with an established band, or maybe starting up a new band or anything? Or
yeah, I would love to. And we actually have a project we started. Some of the guys that have played in Puddle and Mud in the past, all of us Jacksonville guys, and my buddy Zach that plays guitar in this band Mofro now. They're a huge jam funk scene. And so we basically have a band in Jacksonville called Vanilla Women. But right now it's just a studio project, but we're talking about trying to get that going here in the new year. But mainly right now, you know, I'm focusing on what me and Trista are doing. I really believe in it, and it's fun to go out there, and because it's not just acoustic. You have to come to the show to see it, what I'm talking about. But it's a lot of fun, you know, and it's making me a better musician, you know, because I get to play for 3 hours some nights, and I'm just having fun doing it. But yeah, if something came along and it was the right band, you know, I would love to do something. You know, like I was saying, like with Perfect Circle, that would be an ultimate gig for me, something like that. So.
Yeah, Perfect Circle, man. What a great band that is. I mean, Maynard, of course, does this thing. Billy Howardell, I think I had a chance to interview him a few years ago. And, man, they're a great band. And at a Pussifer, too. Are you familiar with that project?
Oh, very well. Very well.
Yeah, because the more I hear that, the more I like that as well.
Yeah, and it's just, I believe in those guys as musicians, too, you know, and that's kind of where I'm at now that I'm a little older. You know, it's like I've always listened to all styles of music. You know, I've never just listened to, say, you know, rock or metal. You know, I've listened to everything my whole life, and just the older I get, the more, you know, I want to put some more musicality into what I'm doing. So that's kind of where my head's at right now. You know, it may change because you know, my head's always changing. But right now I'm trying to focus on what me and Trista are doing, and like I said, the rock and roll project, Vanilla Women. You know, trying to focus on that this new year, because you would love that stuff, man. It is straight up Guns N' Roses.
I heard a track earlier today on the internet. What was the track that's floating around right now?
Oh, there's 4 of them. We got 4 songs out there.
Okay, I heard one track. Spit them out. What are they called?
There's one called Burn the Bridge, Fast on the Gun. What are the other 2 called? I can't even think right now. There's two more.
See,
but basically, man, the chemistry is what it is about that band. Like, we literally go into the studio, my buddy Damon's studio, and we have not a riff, not a lyric idea, nothing. And I shit you not, 5 hours later, we have a complete song recorded, tracked and mixed and mastered. It's like the chemistry is just like something I've never experienced before.
Now, is this band based out of Nashville?
No, it's based out of Jacksonville.
It is out of Jacksonville. Now, let me get this straight here. So you live in Nashville right now, you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I've lived in Nashville probably on and off for like the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Now, I mean, it's no secret. There is tons of music in Nashville. And are you doing any session work? You do any writing for anybody or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do both of those. You know, I moved there to try to, you know, further my songcraft ability, you know, because that's what Nashville is, man. It's like, I feel bad for kids that try to move there and quote unquote make it, but it's like, man, if you could just tell them, you have like less than 0% chance there because everybody there is so damn talented. I mean, the guy working at the gas station can smoke your ass on every instrument. and he's working at the gas station. I mean, it's just, I've never seen a place that has that much talent, you know. So if you just get there, and for me, I went there to just further my songwriting ability.
Now, do you find that you become inspired there?
Man, I don't know. My kids live in Jacksonville, so I'm kind of still inspired by the madness of all that, you know. So I don't know, you know, it's the guitar playing thing doesn't really, I mean, of course, everybody there is so talented, but that's kind of not what I'm into, you know. I'm more into the craft of songwriting. So I'm trying to get inspired by others that do that really well.
Give me some songs that off the top of your head that you think are well-written, well-crafted songs.
Oh my goodness, you're killing me here this early.
I'll give you one just off the top of my head. I've talked about this before. In Color from Jamie Johnson. I think it's like one of the greatest songs.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I don't know, you know of Blackberry Smoke, right?
Right.
Oh man, those guys. I think Charlie is probably one of the best songwriters around right now. I mean, there's this song he did on a couple albums back called One Horse Town, and if you ever grew up in like any kind of small town existence,
I did.
Like,
I'll have to look that one up.
Okay, well, if you pull up Blackberry Smoke, One Horse Town right now, and you'll just it'll blow you away. You feel like he's talking about you.
One Horse Town. Okay, yeah. I grew up in a one horse town with one street light. You know, and I live in one now too, outside of Detroit. But I love it like that.
Okay.
So.
All right, you're gonna call me back after you hear that. You motherfucker.
Hey, you know, being here in Detroit and stuff. You were friends with Kid Rock, right?
I knew Bob a little bit. I'm actually really close with Kenny Olson, though. Kenny lives in Nashville.
Right.
So I'm not as close with Bob. I mean, I've met him a few times, and we've hung out and done our thing, you know, but not as close as I am with Kenny. Me and Kenny are really close. Yeah,
because I haven't seen Kenny in a while. I know he plays up here every maybe twice a year or something like that. Kenny's a great guy. What a great guitar player he is. That guy is like the epitome of rock and roll.
Totally, man. He is a blues man through and through. You know, the way he lives his life, everything, you know. He's such a sweetheart.
His voicemail's constantly full. It's like you can't leave a voicemail for the guy because he never answers it. But anyways, I don't leave voicemail.
And it's a real thing, and I can't, because I would get pissed at him about that. Me and Trista, we're trying to get a hold of him because my girlfriend's really good friends with him, too. And you go over there and you look at his phone, and he literally has 10,000 missed calls and 10,000 text messages and 80,000 emails. So it's not personal. He just doesn't answer his phone.
I believe that. No, the reason I brought up Kid Rock, of course, I mean, we're obviously here in Detroit and stuff, and I think in the last 10 years or so, he's probably written some stuff that's right in your wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, man. The stuff I've heard, you know, it's and he's come a long way with all that. I mean, he's always been a great writer, but going more of that country direction, and you could call it country, but I just call it Americana songwriting.
Right.
You know, and man, he's really he can really say some things that get to you. You know, pull the strings.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So anyway, so in the future, you're looking maybe to hop on some stuff, or right now you're just kind of doing this thing with your girlfriend, huh?
Yeah, we love it. We were able to go out and secure about 4 days with, like I said, that band Mofro from Jacksonville. So it was the first time for her getting in front of 4,000 people a night. Everywhere we went was sold out, and that was just amazing because you can make it work in front of 100 people or so, or maybe 2 people some nights. You never know out here. But to see it, the reaction in front of a huge crowd, and to see it work with just 2 acoustics and a voice, it was really cool. So I believe in it. I know it'll work. So I don't know, man. It's what I like doing, and it's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, if something came along, I'm always up for it. And I was joking to some friends last night about that. It's like I always prided myself for only being in 2 bands since the 8th grade up until my 30s, and now it's like I seem like a fucking merc. I'm out there. Like I played with Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. I did the Fuel thing. I'm out with all these different bands. It seems like, but what else am I going to do? It's either sit on the couch. I feel like I took too much time off. Which I probably did, but I needed to do it to get my head, in the right spot and find my heart and my love for music again, which I have now. But unfortunately, that took a long time, and we know that, people forget about you if you go away for 3 months. So
yeah,
I'm kind of clawing my way back in there, but I'm going to do it the way I want to do it,
and
playing the music that I love.
And you'd say that your head's straight now? It has been for the last few years?
Oh, it has been for many years now, but it took a long time to get there, so I have a lot of sympathy for people that are working through their demons, but there's nothing you can do until you're ready to do it yourself.
Yeah.
No one can help you, and it's so sad, but that's the hard truth,
Did you find there was like a turning point at one point where you just like, I gotta snap out of this?
Everybody says that, and and going through all the courses and all that stuff, but I don't believe that. I just think that when you're ready, you're ready.
Well, I guess that's what I'm asking is, did you find that there was one point where you're like, this is it, I'm ready, let's do this?
No, there were so many horrible points that I can't even name. I mean, it's the worst imaginable things that could ever happen. But there were so many of them that's not what did it for me. I think it just was just when you're ready, you're ready. So, because there were many bad things I should have learned a long time ago. But I had to go through it for whatever reason. That was the plan the universe had for me, and now I'm on a different path, and I'm happy. So that's all I can do. I got my love for music back. So that was the worst thing about all that. I lost a lot of stuff, yes, but I also lost the love of music, and that's what I love to do. So to get that back was a real blessing.
Yeah, that's cool because hey, that's your life, and that's what you live for. And I guess when I started talking, you'd say I didn't think I'd hear you say that you lost your love of music, and that's why I didn't know what to expect, I suppose.
Yeah, the unfortunate stuff with all that is, everything gets on the back burner when you're messing around with stuff you shouldn't be doing, and for whatever reasons. Everybody has their reasons for doing stuff. I don't really know what my reason was. Still haven't figured it out. I just know it's not for me. And it's just, I don't know. Now, that's what the point of all that is, like, that's why I love playing with all these different types of bands, like with Maylene and Sons of Disaster. I'll go out and play any kind of music if it's good. It's just because what else am I going to do? It's like you could waste time sitting on the couch, or we could go out and do what we do. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. If I have to be a merc, I'll be a merc. Because anybody that wants me to play with them, if I love their music and love them as people first, then I'm going to go out there and play it. I love playing it so much. That's why I'm out here, me and Trista driving ourselves all around the country. I mean, we do about 6,000 miles every 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
And she doesn't bitch at all about it. So that's the other thing I love about it.
I guess she sounds like a keeper as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of people cry about being on the road and stuff, and we don't do that. So
now you find that you run into a lot of Shinedown fans on the road?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What kind of stuff do they ask you about?
Well, they want me to play that material, and that's not where I'm at. I don't know why I would, So unless Brent's singing it doesn't really make sense. I went out with this guy Delacoma, and he wanted to play a couple songs. I did a little short tour with him, and he's a really great artist from Australia, Delacoma Rio, and so I would. I oblige him, and I did a couple songs. We did like "Fly from the Inside" or something, and it doesn't feel right for me, because all that stuff was so personal between me and Brent. At least I felt so, and so it doesn't feel right playing it with anybody else. you know?
Yeah.
I don't consider that stuff cover songs, you know? So maybe it's different when you write it, I guess, you know?
So I guess my final question is, if Brent and Barry were to hear this, so what kind of stuff would you want them to take away from this?
Oh man, just that I love him. I'm actually in contact with Barry every so often. He recently started hunting, so now we have that in common, which is great. And I actually got to see Brent for the first time about a year ago, backstage in Nashville, and that was it was pretty heavy for the both of us, you know. But as far as them taking anything away from it, I mean, I don't know. You know, I love those guys, and they know that. So it is what it is, you know.
That's cool. Well, I got to tell you, Jason, I'm like, I got to admit, I'm pretty impressed, and my heart feels good for you, man. It seems like you've really rebounded, and it seems like you're really in a good path, and you kind of know exactly where you want to go and what you want to do. And I guess at the end of the day, that's all that matters, huh?
Yeah, it did, man. It took a long time to get here, though. You know, I'm not going to lie. Most people, you know, from what they read on the internet or think about me, some of it's true and some of it's not. But, you know, it was a really tough path. And I love that band more than anything. I waited my whole life to get in a band like that of brothers, you know. So when it went away, there was a lot of other stuff that happened outside of that as well. But it really took me down, you know. So just I had to fight back from it, and now I've been able to let it go. You know, for the last 4 years have been really good. You know, so I just kind of stay on that path. You know. Well,
that's cool. Well, I'll tell you what. You tell your booking agent there to book some sort of gig in Detroit sometime soon. Okay, maybe not now, man, because now it's too cold. But
I know there's an ice storm here in Oklahoma right now. So
is that right? Man.
Yeah, we're heading south to Texas, Dallas. So luckily we'll get out of it. But man, we'd love to, and you got to get some of our music on the damn radio up there.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Hey, listen, you know, my hands are tied. I'll do what I can, but it's funny because I always say to people, I always go, why do bands tour Canada and northern parts of the United States during the wintertime? And, you know, it's like that'd be touring during, you know, the warm climate during the wintertime and then vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
I know. We just actually went to Iowa and Wisconsin 2 months ago, or last month. Yeah, and it snowed all over the place, and it really freaked her out. But we got through it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jason,
yeah, we'll book some shows for sure, man. I'll get on James about that, and we'll probably see you, you know, within, you know, a few months, maybe April, May, something like that.
Well, listen, you got my number. Hit me up anytime, and it's so good to hear your voice and continued success, and your love of music is back, and that's a cool thing, man. Yeah, man. I love you so much, man. It's so good to hear from you. Jason Todd right here on the Radio Chatter podcast. So great to hear his voice, man. And even better than that, so great to hear the tone of his voice. It sounds like the guy is really loving what he's doing right now. And at the end of the day, and that's all that really counts, right? Maybe later on in the year, we can get Brad Stewart and Jason on the podcast at the same time. That'd be pretty cool. I'm going to try to work on that. In the meantime, next week, I'm working on getting a band on the podcast. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to jinx myself, as I've done in the past. All right? So just, you know, keep checking back, subscribe, keep hitting up the website, WRIF.com or whatever. Once again, thank you so much to Jason for taking the time out today to talk about his projects, and thank you guys so much for checking out Radio Chatter.